All right. Hey guys, what's up? Happy Monday night. I wish I could figure out, I'm sure there's a way to do it, how to make it just me and everything else be blurry in the background. I think that would be really great for our team. But I can't figure out how to do it. I am doing this live by myself tonight. Oh my God. And all I keep getting right now, you guys, is notifications that I need to clean up my disk space, which I think just means I need to get a new computer. Oh no, now it's going to try to run a program. We can't be doing that right now. Oh, Jesus. This is what I get when I try to do lives by myself. I always feel weird doing this, even though I did 3 entire years of my business without Alessia by my side. I don't know how, but anytime I hop on here to do a live alone solo, I'm like, this is weird. I just talk to myself and stare at myself and hope that you guys are listening. But we are back to playing the game of where in the world am I recording these lives from and what's going on in my life. I'm in my office slash storage unit at my dad's house in San Antonio. We have made it back to Texas. Denver is no more. So that's my life update, in addition to the fact that I've added many a piercing to my arsenal here, and I am having a hard time. I can't sleep on my side. So I'm currently using a travel pillow and sticking my ear in the middle of the hole of the travel pillow. It's actually helped a lot, but we have second holes that are now occupied. They've been there, they just weren't being used on this side. This ear is too scared and too inflamed for me to go to a second hole here, but the conch piercing is doing great. This one is giving me some trouble. So if you have any tips besides the travel pillow and the saline rinse and everything else I'm doing, let me know, because this shit hurts. But those are my life updates. I'm in San Antonio. I'm in the market to buy a car. If you're selling a car, let me know. But tonight we're going to be talking about a client of mine. We are going to refer to her as C. I actually don't know if she cares if I use her name. I don't think so, but just to be safe, I posted her progress on my story earlier this week. I talked a little bit about her progress, and multiple people messaged me being like, wow, that's amazing. She looks great. How long did this take? How much is she eating? Things like that. How long did this take is the question I get most frequently, probably when I post an impressive client transformation. And the answer is always going to be longer than you think, or longer than you think that it should. And I think the poor marketing but honest truth of many a transformation is the people that you are looking at on Instagram, on YouTube, people whose lives are fitness, people who you are following on social media for fitness content. They did not get to where they are in 3, 6, 9, or even 12 months. I can assure you that those people's bodies that you are idolizing, romanticizing, whatever, were built over multiple seasons, over multiple years, and multiple seasons with different purposes. That is something that we're going to talk a little bit about today, because we have talked extensively about having seasons to your nutrition, why you can't always be dieting. And this client is going to be a really great, and I did post an entire thing just now in the group with 2 side-by-side pictures of her, as well as exactly what we did to get her there. And I know you guys like that when I get really specific on like, okay, what did we do? How long did we stay there? How many calories was she eating? Granted, every single person's body is going to be very, very different and respond to different things. So remember that when you are looking at these, is just because she is eating that much does not mean that's how much you need to be eating. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's metabolism is different. Everyone's hormones are different. Everyone's dieting history is different. Those things all impact how many calories you can eat. And the more seasons over more years that you do of not dieting and repairing your metabolism and working on strength, the more you can probably get to calorie wise down the road. So keep that in mind as well. Again, like, she is 9 months into her journey working with me. We have a full year together, maybe more after that. But she came to me like many people do, wanting to lose body fat, wanting to lose weight, being solely focused on getting leaner, getting smaller, as she has been focused on majority of her adult life. She came in having a pretty bad relationship with food, with her body, with the scale. So when she came in, we did not have her weighing herself initially, because we discussed at length, as I do with all new clients, like, I will be totally honest with you. I will be totally realistic with you. If I don't think that you should be dieting right off the bat, I will tell you that. I have definitely had people not sign up or not continue because all they wanted to do was diet. I refuse to put someone in a compromised position, metabolically, health wise, etc. I like ethically can't get behind you dieting. I won't diet you. And again, that's not popular and that's not like going to win me any favors with, people who just want to lose weight. But the truth is, not everybody is ready to. And that is a conversation that she and I had extensively when we started together was, hey, we're in this position where our relationship with food's pretty shit. Our body image is pretty shit. We're pretty afraid of the scale overall. And her number, that was like, I think we all have one of those or had one of those, right? Like a fear number. Her number was 1,500. She felt like she went over 1,500. Like that was bad. That was too much. She couldn't possibly. And like 1,500 was her safe number when it came to counting calories. But with that, she often felt like she was falling off track. She was inconsistent. She would then go do things like Whole30 or, whatever else, more extreme sort of 30-day challenge type of diets, which there's nothing wrong with Whole30. I think it instills a lot of really good habits like cooking all of your meals at home and reading labels and things like that. But she resorted to those more extreme measures because what she was doing calorically was pretty unsustainable for her at the time. Trying to diet on lower calories when you haven't built a foundation, which we're going to talk about, is really setting yourself up for failure. So we had a long conversation about how the first at least 4 months, I needed her to buy in for at least 4 months. We needed to do a couple of things. Those things were not diet, increase food, because we are not going to be able to cut from 1,500. If we're starting at 1,500, we are putting ourselves in a position where the only way that we can lose weight is to go down to 1,200. So we knew that wasn't going to be a good situation. She also had struggled in the past with some estrogen dominance. She knew that coming in. And you guys probably know from our hormone masterclass, estrogen dominance does really contribute to weight loss resistance, among other things, right? So we didn't know for sure that that was still a problem because we didn't have recent labs, but we knew if that had been a problem in the past, we were going to at least address the lifestyle factors that could be contributing to that regardless, so that we could support healthy hormones, so that we could support, physique enhancement and just like overall well-being. So when she came in, we said, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. We can't start off the bat here with a 1,200 calorie diet when we're struggling with adherence, when we're struggling with consistency, and when we're struggling with hormones. That's a recipe for failure, right? We're not going to succeed doing that. So even though you came to me with your highest priority being weight loss, I need you to trust that we're going to get there. We're just not going to get there as fast as you want to get there. But keep in mind, doing it your way in the past hasn't worked, right? And she was really like open to that because a lot of clients come in at that point, right? They're like, well, I don't want to reverse diet. I don't want to build. I just want to lose weight and I can't do it on my own. But then you have to remember, you've been trying to lose weight on your own over and over and over again, and you have not gotten there. So it's probably trying to do something different than what you've been doing, which is just consistently bouncing in and out of a calorie deficit, like with no plan, with no adherence, just slashing calories lower and lower and hoping for the best. Never working on your relationship with food, never working on your metabolism, never building strength, never focusing on any goals other than the scale going down. And she had been doing that. And so for her to hear, hey, probably for the first 4 or 5, 6 months we work together, we are not going to diet. You're not going to see a deficit. We're going to eat more. The numbers are going to go up. We're going to focus on your strength. We're going to focus on some other things we addressed as being a problem for her, like just some sleep habits that we wanted to work on. We looked through her food logs together and kind of came up with some changes to her diet. We looked at like things like fiber intake, because you guys again know from some of the hormone labs that we've done or the hormone masterclass we did in the past, that fiber is a huge component of gut health, but also helps to clear excess estrogen. So we said, hey, let's look at the places that are kind of low hanging fruit for us. Let's look at fiber intake. Let's look at sleep. Let's talk about stress management. She has a very stressful job. So we kind of have talked through some positive reframing and some other things, but the long and short of it was, hey, for the first 4 to 6 months, which was initially she'd only signed up to work with us for 6 months. I was like, hey, I cannot successfully get you to where you want to be in this amount of time. Do you trust me? Basically, to get you to where you want to be, it's just going to take longer and it's going to be a different route than you want to go. You want to go take the shortcut route, right? Like you want to go from point A on the highway, fast as you can to point B. But what you don't know is the highway's actually closed for construction. So we're going to have to make a detour. We're going to have to take some back roads. It's going to take us longer. It's going to be kind of frustrating. It's probably going to be slower than you want, but ultimately we are going to get you there. But if you go your way, you're just going to be stuck because that road is completely closed and it is not going to work for you to get there. And that's basically where we're at, is like, hey, you keep getting on this road and having to turn around and come back home, only to try to keep getting back on, to only realize maybe that freeway or that overpass is done. It broke, the bridge broke. We're never getting back on. So we have to kind of go some alternative routes. They're not necessarily going to be the things that you want to do that are super sexy and exciting right off the bat, but she has been so amazing at, one, communicating with me. She checks in every single week, and something that she does really well is communicates exactly where she's at and how she's feeling. Anytime she was feeling any kind of like stress or resistance from, because those are patterns, right? If all you've ever done your entire life is try to diet and eat less, it is going to feel crazy and foreign and scary to go through an entire 6-month period of eating more when you hired a coach to help you lose weight. Like, that's a really hard thing to swallow, but she has done such a good job of trusting us and trusting the process and communicating every step of the way. So when she was feeling like, stressed about gaining weight or eating more or whatever, we talked through it every step of the way. So when we got her to 1,800 calories, that was a scary new, it was a PR for her in terms of calories eaten consistently. Granted, had she probably eaten 1,800, 2,000, 2,500 calories in the past and just not tracked on those days, of course. And that's something I try to remind clients of too, is like, hey, this is maybe the first time you've seen that number, but because you were so stuck at being at a low number on the days you tracked, you've seen higher numbers than this. You just weren't tracking them. So now we're tracking a higher intake, and consistently you are eating better overall. So we got up to 1,800. And then we made it to 2,000, and then we got to 2,100. And that was about where we stopped for her, was like that 2,000 to 2,100 calorie range. We were really comfortable there. We had some days at like 1,800, some days at like 2,000. I've been very flexible. We've talked about calorie cycling in this group a lot too with her. And we're even doing that in her dieting phase, where she has 5 days that are lower calorie, 1 to 2 days a week that are higher calorie, so she can accommodate her social schedule, as well as serving as a little bit of a refeed to keep that metabolism firing. So she has done, like I said, an amazing job. And I think that's something that differentiates her success from people who maybe don't have as much success on their own or with coaches or with us or whoever, is everybody wants to rush the results, but you don't realize that you haven't taken the prerequisite courses to be successful at those advanced courses. The advanced course for her being successfully dieting while maintaining a social life, while maintaining no food rules, while maintaining a fantastic relationship with her body now, while maintaining a better relationship with the scale. She had not weighed herself in about 4 years prior to working with us. And that was, again, something that in the beginning we were saying, hey, we're reverse dieting right now. Our goal isn't to see the scale go down. In fact, we may see the scale go up as you get more serious about your training, as you continue to increase food. So let's not weigh at all until we start our dieting phase. And that's what we did. So for her, that was something, like, most of our clients weigh themselves, but every client is different, right? So for her, psychologically, it was just not beneficial for us to be weighing when it was already mentally challenging for her to trust the process of, again, like everything going up for 6 months when all you want to see is things go down. So the first 5 to 6 months, that's what we did. We also made a deal that she was going to get her hormones checked before we started a dieting phase. We ended up not getting them checked until a couple months into the dieting phase, but everything came back looking pretty damn good because of the work that she did in that first 5 to 6 months. And again, that entire 5 to 6 months was about building the foundations. It was building muscle, because metabolically, muscle tissue is more active. It was about building her metabolism, right? Like, you have to train your metabolism so that you can eat more, right? It adapts when you train it to eat less. It adapts when you train it to eat more. Especially if you are hormonally healthy, you can increase your metabolism. You can get your body to maintain on more calories. It's possible. And that's kind of what we did with her, was we didn't get her calories super high. We didn't push it. We just worked on consistency at a like healthy, flexible, maintainable calorie intake. That was the goal, is get to a place where we're not so food focused. Because again, starting a deficit at super low calories while you're food focused is not going to be in your best interest. So we got to a place where she was a lot more neutral about food, wasn't overeating, was just like, again, very objective with her food intake. And that's when we knew we were ready to start a dieting phase, when we were at a good place to cut from, right? Cutting 200, 300, 400 calories off of 2,100 or 2,000, much more realistic than off of 1,500, right? So we started at a higher calorie intake. We started at a better relationship with food. We started less food focused. We started with more muscle tissue. She's been training and sending me form videos every single week. I would say actually probably like 90% of her check-ins, she sends at least 2 training videos. Her training videos from week 1 to now look completely different. So not only is she like actually getting stronger, she's building more muscle because she's executing these movements more correctly with better form, better range of motion, better tempo. She's getting more tension in the, like, you know, as you can see by her glutes, you know, we built something and now we're revealing what we built during that cut. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make, is always focusing on the cut, always focusing on the diet, not realizing that if you never build anything to begin with, we always refer to it as like the melted candle look, right? When you just kind of like diet and you're like, I'm smaller, but I'm just still kind of soft and I don't really like what I'm seeing. Whereas you can see from that back picture that I posted of her, I was blown away by that. Her shape is different, right? She's built more of an hourglass. She has bigger glutes. She has more definition in her lats and shoulders, creating the appearance of a smaller waist. So now when we're dieting, we're maintaining that shape that we built with muscle, but then we're losing the fat. So she's going to be absolutely snatched because we are not even done yet. She's down 11 pounds in her cut. We are back to 1,500 calories, but it is completely different now than it was. Her relationship with food is still intact. She has 2 days a week on the weekends where she's at 18 or 1900. She usually hits, again, somewhere between 18 and 1950 or so. Those are sort of her like more free, flexible refeed days where she can account for having a drink or two and going out to eat. But that's what I was going to say too, is something else she has done really, really well is her relationship with alcohol. She's not had a single week, I don't think, where we just didn't drink a single drink. Most weeks she drinks like 1 to 5 drinks on the weekends, not each day, just total. But she's so good about being choosy with what occasions for her are worth it. Every single week when she checks in, we strategize. She tells me, this is what I have going on Thursday. This is what I have going on Friday. This is what I have going on Sunday. Here are the 2 days where I think it will be higher priority for me to engage in the drinking and eating. Here's what I want to do. How can we plan around this? So every single week we use this as like a strategy session. Instead of just sending me check-in with numbers, she sends me like, hey, here's what I have going on. What do we do this week? Because every single week is an opportunity for us to pivot and to plan and to game plan essentially about what her nutrition is going to look like, what her non-negotiables are going to look like. She has an overall set of protocols, but if that week work is crazy or social life is crazy, or, you know, it's her, you know, anniversary trip or whatever, we sit and we talk and say, okay, so in order to prepare for that, here's what we're going to do. We may miss this training session, but let's, you know, at least make sure step count is a non-negotiable, right? And we've only gone from just doing steps to adding an hour of cardio a week, a whole week. She's only doing 1 hour cardio. So 3 20-minute sessions usually is what she's doing. And again, I detailed all of that in the plan that I kind of like put together for you guys, because I'm a visual person. I like to see it all laid out. I usually do it as a summary, but I figured if you tune in for this, you can look at that as well. So you can see what I'm talking about here. But she's done an incredible job. Again, not only of just like trusting the process and communicating effectively and putting her all into every single check-in, using every single check-in as a new touch point for us to kind of game plan for the week ahead. But again, that relationship with prioritization, and when it comes to alcohol intake or food intake or anything else, she is very aware of making choices in alignment with her goals. Never has she blamed, you know, eating or drinking anything on anyone else. She takes a ton of personal accountability and responsibility, which I think is huge when it comes to reaching your goals. Is we sit and we say, hey, you're not allowed to do anything, like, but what is going to be like, what's going to make you feel your best, right? And sometimes it's like, I freaking love this pumpkin cider and this pumpkin donut, whatever, and I'm going to have it when we go to the pumpkin patch. Amazing. That sounds absolutely lovely. Like, I'm not a huge pumpkin girl, but I love the fall shit. Like, go for it. But let's plan, okay, that's going to be a lot of your carb intake for the day. So earlier in the day, let's do more protein and fiber. You know, let's just, again, we strategize. And she's done a really good job of saying, like, you guys know my philosophy on like hell yeses and hell nos when it comes to food and alcohol intake is like, if it's not a hell yes, I'm excited about this. This is worth it. I'm going to really enjoy every bite of this. I'm kind of like, like I'll pass on it in exchange for something that is a hell yes, right? You can't simply say, oh, I have 5 social occasions this week. I must drink at every single one. I must eat to, excess at every single one and expect to still reach your goals. It's just almost knocked over my water bottle. It's just not realistic. And so for her, I think that's where she has really, really shined, is saying, okay, I know there are certain things that are hell yeses for me. And here's the things where I might need a little bit more help navigating, because in the past, I would maybe eat or drink more here. However, here's my plan to still engage and still enjoy myself, but not go overboard. And I think that ability to kind of take a step back, look at the week, plan the week ahead, really get a game plan in place and set some non-negotiables for yourself and have some places where you can be more flexible. That's really where you're going to shine. And again, that's more about like living in the gray area, but it's also about planning, preparation, and making choices. You have to make some choices. You have to make sacrifices, even if, we don't love to say the word sacrifice because it sounds, negative or whatever. The reality is, if you want to reach goals that you've never reached before, you are going to have to do things you've never done before in a different way than you've done them in the past. It's just how, you can't go around doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, which is what most of the clients who come to us are doing before they start working with us, right? Is kind of continuing to embark on those lower calorie, more aggressive, more cardio, eat less, move more constantly, falling off the wagon, getting back to doing that, falling off again, as opposed to doing things a different way, which is obviously scary sometimes, but in her case, clearly has paid massive dividends. And I could not be more proud of the work she's put in, because I know how hard she struggled with weight gain and her relationship with food, and how hard that was going to be for us to increase food in the beginning. We had a lot of long conversations about that. We were very open and communicative about that. And she has come so fucking far with that as well. Like, every single time she checks in, am more and more proud. And again, she has given her 110% to this program and to coaching, and it is clearly paying off. And again, we're not done yet. So we're taking a little bit of a diet break right now because the last couple of weeks have been very social for her. And then we are going to get more aggressive when she kind of gets back into the swing of things. But for now, like, we're 11 pounds down. She is cruising, very, very minimal, minimal suffering in this dieting phase, because she got her calories up higher. She improved her metabolism. She built, as again, glutes are evidence enough, she built muscle while she was not dieting for 6 months. And her body is thanking her. We got great lab results back, no estrogen dominance, no issues like that. So her fat loss has been easy. And again, she's maintained the shape that she built. You cannot build during a dieting phase. You are just revealing during a dieting phase what you built when you were not dieting. But again, for a lot of people, they haven't spent enough time not dieting to build the shape they want. So she has done such a good job of just trusting the process, trusting me, and again, giving her all to the process and learning so much along the way. So I wanted to shout her out, and I wanted to kind of detail what has made her so successful. Because again, I got a couple of messages on Instagram being like, how long did this take? What is she doing? Kind of thing. And I wanted to be like, all right, here's what we did. Here's the exact process. And again, I could not be more excited or more proud of the work she's done and will continue to do, because we still have through January together at least. So I will update on her progress when we finish her cut. But I did detail all of that for you guys so you could see exactly what we've done over the last 9 months that we've been working together. And again, our work is not done, so stay tuned. But if you have any questions about this, or if you want to message me personally, I always respond. I get on calls with you guys. So if you want to text me or send me a message here and just say like, hey, here's what I'm doing, would love your feedback, I always give you guys feedback if you message me. So don't be shy. If this spurred any questions or conversations within, your own fitness journey and what you're doing, please let me know. But I hope you guys have a great night. Happy Monday. Let's get after it this week.